It's
Hello.
it's Kyle and Patrick time, and I'm just making sure the chat is rolling, and then we'll
Alright,
be
turn down the volume on you. Let's get some retweets.
okay. Sounds good. Hello, everybody. We're doing art stream time. I trim my fingernails for this. Uh, I often forget that that's something that people can see up close when they watch me draw, and yeah. Um, Instead of doing a coloring exercise today, we're going to do some drawing stuff. This is going to be a little bit different because I'm done with Ahoy. Like, it's all printing and stuff. So we're just drawing stuff kind of based on Ahoy. Brooke had the idea that maybe I'll draw something that will go on our shirts when we sell Ahoy as a staff. So maybe that's kind of where we're gonna start. So this pirate guy was from the practice run to make sure my camera was working and everything. So yeah, let's get. I'm gonna retweet stuff too. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
my typical
Hey, audience.
right now. Right now. Um, this is the time to ask questions or do whatever. Let me. Right now. Okay. Well, I'm just going to start drawing. Um,
Sounds good. I'm still retweeting
okay.
and telling my spouse what happened to me.
Okay. You've been scooped up. Scooped
Yep.
up, consumed by work. Um, yeah, we're going to draw some piratey stuff. I think what I'll do is draw some of like the Smuggler and other
You might have to
characters.
turn me up in Discord.
Oh,
The
Patrick,
camera's
very
muted.
quiet. Okay.
Yeah.
Now talk.
Hi. How are you?
Now Patrick cannot be contained by earthly volume.
Mm-hmm.
You're plenty loud, I think. Okay. Um, let's do this. So I think what we're gonna do is draw some of the smuggler characters and stuff. So one of them is like a jellyfish person, and one of them is like an octopus person. And you choose, Patrick. Jellyfish, octopus.
Octopus, because
Octopus.
my
Okay.
spouse is really into octopus.
Okay.
So much so when we moved, we got priced out, placing the backsplash for our oven with the mosaic octopus.
Ah.
It was not cheap. All right.
The octopus kind of has a little bit mind flayer vibes, but I like mind flayers, so we'll make that work. If you've never seen any of the process videos where I draw, this is the pencil that I use. It's like a drafting pencil, and it's super duper hard lead, so I can erase it easily. And because of that, I only sharpen this like maybe once a year. It just kind of sharpens itself as I use it and turn it in my hand. So that's
Pens
how it
also
works.
do the same thing.
Yeah, pens are also well known for not needing to be sharpened ever. But um,
And if you have any questions, I can
Patrick can
Brooke will
field them.
relay them to me,
I
and
have
I'll
the chat
forward them
up
to
here too.
Kyle,
Yeah,
or I will relay them directly.
I don't have the Facebook up, but if you get questions there, we'll get to them also.
Oh yeah,
So if in
I can do
it
that.
can, I've
I can
played
do
Ahoy too. So if you have
that.
questions about how Ahoy works, the game, the art, um, when Cole and I had a conversation about sailing ships, any of these things you can ask about. We when I talked to Cole about stuff we could things I should learn about sailing ships. Not so much so I could draw like a perfectly accurate sailing ship, but so I wouldn't do anything like so obvious that someone who did know sailing would be like visibly upset by looking at the box art or something. Um, like like how people who like know horses, they look at pictures of horses and they're like, "What is happening here?" I didn't want to put sails on backwards or anything. So Cole gave me a lot of sailing resources because he does that for fun. I also watched the entirety of the miniseries called Hornblower about Horatio Hornblower, which was very entertaining. And I learned some
That's not.
great phrases like haul out the spanker, which is the name for the sail in the back. Sorry, what were you going to ask about Hornblower?
That sounded just more like entertainment than research. But
Yeah, it,
I'm gonna call you out on that one.
I didn't watch it during work hours, so you can be. I didn't try and write it off on my taxes or anything. Um,
I don't know. I don't think you can write that off
no, not anymore. I did
unless you bought it.
a bunch of crazy tax stuff before, and they changed a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, we have 36 people watching, including myself, and they're
And
all
me.
silent observers.
How's your summer been going? How's working for Leader Games right now?
It's good. It's been weird
You're-
because everybody's moving to the new office except for me, whose office has remained in the same location.
Oh, we
Um,
bought you an office.
oh no. So
It-
no, it's been very good. Been finishing up some of the stuff that we got started with ARCs before the Kickstarter. Been playtesting a few different new products and enjoying seeing the like production copy of Ahoy. It was super fun to watch the stream. Uh, was it last month? I guess it would have
A
been
few weeks ago, yeah.
a few weeks ago because they were talking about Ahoy, but like we had a production copy. We had like actual stuff to show people instead of prototypes, and that was exciting for me because I feel like we put a lot of effort into making sure that just it looked up to our standard, and it's weird to have like a finished product to show people instead of like the "Hey, trust us" version, like we do when we go to
What is
Kickstarter.
your favorite location to illustrate? Do you like the forest, space,
Um,
or the sea?
my favorite place to illustrate is
Rude drawings of your children.
honestly probably church. Like when I don't know, my kids always when they're bored, then they ask to draw stuff with me, and um, they're bored at church.
Sure.
But we did the other day. I've seen a few people do it where people will sort of describe poorly or well. They'll describe Pokemon, and then the other person has to draw them just based solely on the descriptions. Um, and we had some fun times with that. They're in the sketchbook. Should I just show them really quick?
Yeah.
We did a few that were funny, and then we can come back to the octopus man.
My spouse is very fond of this game. We play it at parties where you kind of you accordion fold a piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then you write a phrase on one tab, and then the next person unfolds it so they can see the next blank, and they make a drawing of what's written on the tab,
Mm-hmm.
and then they fold it again and pass the next person, and then they have to write a phrase based on that
On the
picture,
drawing.
on the
Oh,
drawing,
I
yeah,
like it.
and then you unfold it and fold it again, and then you make a drawing based on that. So it's like this weird game of telephone because illustrations mess everything up.
That's so funny. I've played something similar to that. I wonder if it's the same thing. But here's the Pokemon. So here's
Nice.
Shuckle.
Uh-huh.
The four legs was where apparently I lost the plot. Voltorb, that I knew what Voltorb looked like, but my daughter, who's 4, described it, and the only 3 things she told me was round ball, stripy eyes, line mouth. And so then the kids kind of like caught on to the game that it was supposed to be funny. So
Oh, sure.
there's Swinub, there's Toxel, who I'd never heard of, Taj Maru. This one is another one of my 4-year-old. This is Bulbasaur, is what she said. And then this is the description. Leaf on back, pointy ears, squaggly mouth, which I wrote verbatim. Big eyes, ball arms and legs, rocks on forehead, sharp claws. So that's Bo.
Waggly mouth.
Squaggly mouth. And then, I'm trying to think if there are more. Oh, there are a couple more. So there's some more. Here's Galarian, Darmanitan, the Rockruff, which is one that I missed completely, but I was kind of trying to. And then my 11-year-old tried to get around the game by just giving me way too much description, so I made it bad on purpose. There's Tynamo. Anyway, here's
I have a question from
more.
Facebook. When you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. I think I know the answer to this one, but let's hear it from Kyle's mouth. What theme would you like to explore in a future game? I assume.
I would like to do some kind of Western, and Patrick knows that, and I think that was probably what you were thinking, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. I like Westerns a lot. There's probably shared before, but I grew up watching kind of reruns of Bonanza. I own a bunch of it on DVD. I don't know. Probably just the part of the United States I live in, too. Just to see a lot of cowboy stuff around. Can
I post the cowboy shirt from your store?
Yeah, I can even show you the original art really quick.
Oh,
so
sure.
I have because that's hanging right here. So I have my cowboy shirt art is from this piece that I did in, when was that?
I wear this shirt every 2 days.
Yeah, this is everyone's
My
favorite cowboy. This is the coffin, and then there's the bear. That's not a.
And the kind of alien-looking dude in the lower right.
Yeah, who's like the preacher who has kind of bug eyes. Yeah. So anyway, I would like to do some kind of Western. I think it's a pretty tapped board game fodder. Like there's lots of Western games already.
Sure. But there isn't a Kyle Ferrin.
True.
Western game.
Yep. So I think that would be fun. I've also think it would be cool to do sort of kind of early colonial style type things, and we've kind of explored that in a few, where it's sort of like an apocryphal version of history that's not as problematic, but just some of the kind of frontier vibes. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, it's cool. I like it. Yeah, I was just gonna say, we tried a couple westerns. It's kind of I think the struggle there is finding something that works with the theme. There's a couple cowboy straight up gunfight style games, either really abstract like Bang, and I can't remember the titles of anyone, but there's a few just direct counter, and you're walking around a saloon shooting other people or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there's the Euros that are kind of Western themed, that are Great Western Trail, and which is an open world adventure game. But and then what's the one about the cows they play in the office occasionally? I don't know. This is a great stream.
That's a question that I can't.
It's about driving cattle and getting them to stockyards.
Well, I'm interested in Great Western Trail, but I have never played it.
That's it. I was just reading about open world games to research for our project. Western Legends, that's what I'm thinking. Great Western Trail is the cow driving one.
Yeah, the one with the 3 sad men on the back of the box before they did the update that has the meeples with cowboy hats on. I mean, that almost by itself sold me on getting a copy.
And Flick 'em Up.
I do have Flick 'em Up also. Yep.
Which is just way too much game for
for what it is.
I love it. I love it, but I still every time I played it, I'm oh my god, we're still shooting each other.
Yep, that's a funny one. We played at Origins game fair a few years ago. I brought one of my favorite role-playing games, which is called Weird West. It's a little pocket role-playing game by
Yep.
Stuart Robertson, and I love that game. It's teeny, and but if you've watched enough episodes of Bonanza, you can throw together a game really fast. And I had a ton of fun doing that. Were you in that game, Patrick? You were, right?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
Origins. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
That was fun. It was a role-playing game.
The same week the same week or the same weekend that we played Root RPG for the first time.
Mm-hmm. True.
Any plans to sell Kyle and Leader game art prints? I framed some of the pictures from Kyle's teacher and sent it, and they look so good. You missed the art show.
Yeah.
Is what I'll say.
Yeah.
So we did a gallery show for Kyle. 2019.
It would have had to have been because it was it was like right before
no one was
pandemic.
traveling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a regular fancy art gallery show, and we
It
had
was so nice and fun.
hundreds of Kyle Ferrin pieces hanging up, and they sold through a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
We just gave the proceeds to charity. We didn't anything else.
Mm-hmm. And as far as like selling prints to the public, we've talked about doing like an art book before.
Yeah.
But like at least for Root specifically, we talked about doing it like more when we're done with Root, and we still don't know what that looks like. So, and that might be something that would either be a standalone art book or would be something that could be even paired with like design diaries from the game or what have you.
Well,
So-
any book is prints if you're brave.
Yeah. Or magazine, apparently, with the Senate.
Yeah.
Senate prints.
But it's just one of those things. It's kind of hard to keep. It's kind of hard to stock for how much we'd sell. And realistically, we'd probably have to stock a lot of them. But maybe we could do some sort of print on demand now that the shirts are getting.
Yeah, and
more
I've
manageable.
I have a print on demand kind of thing with Threadless just for my personal stuff, but none of the Leader Games items. So I don't know. The thing is with prints is that you kind of have to have it on demand because prints are one of those things that people say they want and then don't buy. When you're a freelance artist, it's one of the most kind of like I would hang this on my wall, and then people realize they live in an apartment and they can't hang anything on their wall or
But they realize that you're going to sell them the print for $10 and the frame is $40.
yeah. Mm-hmm. That'll Yep, that can happen too. But yeah, I think there's a few factors there. We're exploring avenues, I guess, is what we'll leave it at for that. The fun thing about being able to draw for board games is that they're all physical objects that get to be handled, and so I feel like the traditional ink and pen stuff translates pretty well to that. And it's fun to hear people say that they want prints or they want physical copies to hang in their house or to put up in their nursery. I've seen that before too. Didn't Cole's brother put all his like prints from the first Kickstarter up around his dorm or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Blake. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I own the company and I still have just big. Like I find envelopes of art all the time in our house.
I think.
Is this Pirate Jolly?
Yeah, this is one of the smugglers. This is the kind of octopus based smuggler. And we'll move on to the jellyfish guy. So the reason I do the sorry if this shakes around my camera really bad. The hard lead eraser is so if I ink on top, then I can just erase it underneath, and even if I can still see a little bit, I can when I go to scan, I can just knock it out using the levels tool, and then it'll just be straight up ink. So sometimes I'll do just direct ink to paper, and then sometimes when I'm doing composition stuff or like for box art and things, I'll do pencils pencils first. So, yeah.
It looks like the Facebook part of the stream is locked,
Oh no.
but I can't tell. Oh, I accidentally paused it.
That'll do it.
Patrick Leder doing more harm than good as usual.
I don't normally draw with a camera directly in front of my face, so if I'm moving around funny, it's to accommodate for that.
So you've been working on arcs?
I have. Yep.
No.
Yep. We been some cool changes and things in the playtest recently. I got to play just last week with some of the new changes to the base game, and I just really like it. I could not be more pleased with the way Arcs is going. I'm also, I mean, I say that as I'm drawing Ahoy stuff, but I am so excited to have Ahoy. I specifically because just like I have friends that play heavier board games with me who will bust out things like Root, but I feel like Ahoy is a little bit better fit for, like, I play it with those friends too, but Ahoy is a little bit of a better fit for like my family, where I can play a game like that feels kind of like Root and Vast too, but is a little bit easier to roll out for like my siblings if they're just coming to visit one night or something. We can work it out that way.
What's your favorite Ahoy role to play?
Ooh, I really like the Bluefin Squadron, like the one with the huge ship. That's the dark blue kind of black pieces. But I also like being a smuggler a lot. I think my favorite part about being either of those roles is just kitting out your ship with really weird combinations or really like synergistic combinations of crew that let you do funny things. Like I think I mentioned it just in the chat of the last stream, but I got one combination in at least in an early version of Ahoy where I had one crewmate that let me sail through wreckage without taking damage, and then another one that would let me pick up coins from spaces I moved through without having to stop. Which just made it so I could just trawl my boat through all of the through all the broken boats and just make tons of money really fast. I don't think I even won that game, but I don't know. That to me is one of the benefits of a game like Ahoy, is that even if you lose, it can still be very funny. Or
you want it in your heart.
Yes. And just like or whatever you did during the game is memorable enough that it's almost not as important as remembering who won. It's just being like, remember when I had the wreckage boat, or like the teleporting boat, or remember when I like there's I think like the Sea Witch card that lets you travel around the map like Pac-Man style. So if you exit one side of the map, then you come in the other side. Or it's either that or Aeronauts. One of them lets you do that, and the other one lets you like put down tiles even if you're not in the area.
Right.
And one of the things that you can do when you're the Bluefin Squadron, when you're like the shark guys, is that you are trying to put together the map in a way where it's really easy to manage.
Right.
Like you can go from one place to another and not like have it be a huge headache. But when you're a smuggler, it kind of behooves you to do the opposite. And so if you get some of those cards early on, you can build the map in just like the most annoying way. Or you make it really long, or you can make it so there's a big like gap in the middle. And I think that's a pretty fun way to play too.
Did Party Barge make it?
I
It was
don't
a
think
party
it
boat.
did. I don't think it did.
Yeah.
We had there was a part in Ahoy's development where we played around with sort of achievements that you'd get part game, and one
Yeah.
of them was Party Barge, where you just tried to get a lot of crew members. Uh, and I don't think that stuck around, but that was a funny way to funny way to play
By
that
the,
one
by the
too.
time you had 6 crew members, you were like pretty, you know, you had snowballed, so it wasn't nice giving that person points. So,
Yeah.
but it was funny. It was a funny concept. So
Hmm.
well, that's good. I like playing the bluefin also because the um Nick just chimed in. Party Barge was a fan favorite. The worst loss in losing that system.
Yeah.
Um, I like playing the bluefins because I that was like my role in the testing process was I played the bluefins frequently. So
Hmm.
and tried to master them. So I guess I'll have a soft spot for them forever. But
I like
I like being tricky with the smugglers too. It's a lot of fun.
it's fun to play Ahoy like trying to stay out of trouble completely, like just avoiding all battles.
Uh-huh.
But it's also fun at the beginning of the game to just like decide that you're going to be super aggro. Because like those couple few turns, like you like, if nobody has their cannons equipped, you can sort of just skate around without consequences.
Right.
But as soon as the first person equips cannons, it's sort of like,
Uh,
all right, it's
it's go time.
it's go time, and then everybody sort of has to get on board the cannon train or try and distance themselves as much as possible. So it's really funny to sort of force the game into early armament by just being like, and cannons on the very first turn. Everyone being like, no, I had so much I was
Enjoy
gonna try.
master dive.
Oh darn it, yeah. Uh, and like, nope, it's cannons time. And then some of those market cards that let you do bananas combative things become extra valuable, both for the people who get aggro early and for the people who are just trying to get those out of circulation so the aggro player doesn't also get, you know, battering bulkheads and exploding shells and what have you. But,
What's the thingy above his head?
it's a hook on a
Sure, I
rope.
see it.
The smugglers are
You
very
were learning the blockchain.
hook heavy. Yep, hook heavy faction. Um,
Double hook hands
double
and
hook
peg
hands.
legs.
Yep. In my
And the
mind, he's
best.
just an actual octopus that is using his other four tentacles to hold those things in place.
It's
Like,
octopus tentacles regenerate very quickly
hmm
in the real world.
I believe it.
Cool. Any other questions? So the smugglers are kind of like pirates. No, they're more like smugglers. Or as I told one of our lawyers, tax-free, tax-exempt enthusiasts.
Yeah, so every card in Ahoy in the market has two things on it. That has some art at the top that shows usually a person, and then like an ability that that person gives you if you put them on your crew.
Mhm.
And then the bottom of the card shows usually a commodity. Um, and the smugglers can do both. So you can go and pick up a card and put it at the top of your board to show that it's part of your crew, or you can pick up a card and put it at the bottom of the board to show that you're just like moving paint from one island to another or whatever. Um, and so in that way, it's a little bit more piratey than the other roles because the other roles can really only use those market cards for the crew aspect,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but like I said before, sometimes you want to pick up something just to keep someone else from getting it.
Right.
Like if you know that something has to be delivered to a blue island and it's right next to a blue island already, maybe you pick it up even if you don't want it because that's a super easy drop off for the smuggler. Or maybe you let them do it because you're just trying to increase the value of an island you already have control over.
Yeah, I
So,
like that part of the that the as you deliver cargo, the territory it's being delivered to becomes worth more for the other two players.
hmm
It's a lot of fun.
there's one purple themed fish icon island that is already really hard to get to because of the way that like the tailwinds and the like the sandbars are positioned on the tile, and if you're a mean smuggler, you can put that on the board in a way that makes it really hard for anyone to get to. uh, and then, yeah, if you have the right card composition, then or dice rolls, then you can get there and kind of keep it to yourself without anybody else being able to get to it. At least without
So,
some effort.
someone in the audience asked if you were a Pirates of the Caribbean Davy Jones style pirate, what sea creature would you be mixed with?
Oh, me?
Yeah, I hate sea creatures, so I would be sad.
They're all gross.
They're
No,
all
I
gross
would.
to me.
I don't know. I think I like crabs. I think they're interesting armored creatures. I also think they taste better than lobster do, texture wise. I don't know if that's a factor about determining how I would taste, but
How delicious you were would be a factor in
yes.
determining
So
quality.
maybe lobster is better, so I don't taste good. Um, I don't know.
I
Pinchy
would do
hands.
crab too because you'd have a cool armored shell and pinchy hands. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're all evolving to be crabs anyway, so
Yeah.
may as well just side stuff
Yep.
out. Mm.
There's like a few different things that have evolved to be crabs, right? In
So, Ken Beal asks, do you both outline the amount of characters and assets ahead of time to create scope of what to draw? I think that's yeah. Go ahead.
yes, there's kind of two parts to every project, and one of them is determining what the look is going to be, and so that mostly involves discussing it and then doing concept art. And then once that stuff is sort of settled in and the game is further into development, when we have an idea of what we
Yeah.
need, then the game designers will put together an art list for me. And that might be really descriptive, where they're telling me, what kind of characters they need or distinct objects or whatever. Or, depending on the scope, like with Oath, it was just like a list of cards, what their names were, and then what the power did. And then I just it was kind of left up to me to interpret how to put that into the game,
With some great results.
with some humorous results. Uh, so with Ahoy, that's how we did it. Is there were a few cards that Nick wanted a specific way. Like there's one card that was Nick. If you're in the chat, was it Sea Dogs? The Sea Dog card that you said, "Hey, can this be an actual dog?" There was some card there was
Dog.
some card that you wanted very specifically. For the most part, I got to determine what a lot of them looked
Yeah,
like.
it was Sea Dog.
Huh.
And no CB though.
There's a powder monkey also, right?
There's a literal powder monkey.
Literal powder monkey. Um,
The on-rim game Natalian has literal CVs. Since CV is I think the name of a merchant marine sailor. Is that right?
I'll have to watch Hornblower again so I can remember all the terms for everything.
I'm gonna go look this up so before someone calls me out on not knowing my nautical history. It is the U.S. Navy's construction force.
Nice.
That wasn't as fun as what I thought it would be. All right.
How we doing on time?
We got about 25
All
minutes,
right.
and we're doing good.
We're doing good. Now I'm trying to think of composition-wise how I fit the other two roles in this.
You should have thought ahead, mister.
Well, that's why I usually pencil the whole thing and then ink the whole thing when it's something like this.
Yeah.
Well, I could draw them up here, up above. That might
It looks like your only option.
might have to work. Otherwise, they'll look like their graves will be danced upon by these pointy folks here. Let's do that. So we'll do, and I will draw both of these together at the same time. We'll do kind of the mollusk union folks here.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
And it's totally unrelated. I'll ask you later.
You can ask me.
I was gonna ask you if you saw the Monsters trailer.
Yes, I did. There's a, now I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but they had kind of an extensive discussion about, can you make a so bad it's funny movie on purpose?
Oh, sure.
And there's like Kung Fury, and those type of things, and I don't know. At least where I land on that spectrum, I guess you could say, is I think there has to be an element of sincerity for it to be truly so bad it's funny. Like the people making it can't have known that it's as bad as it really is. There was a time in, I want to say 2013, where my friends and I watched this. Well, okay, I'll give the whole story. I watched this movie on Netflix called Interzone. Shout out Interzone. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore. It was like a defining moment for me of being like, this is possibly the funniest movie I've ever seen. And it's not supposed to be funny at all. It like came from that everybody tried to make a Mad Max movie genre.
Yeah.
And Interzone is so terrible. It is like one of the characters is named Panasonic. There's a woman in it who is like a professional wrestler / bodybuilder, and she's so scary and weird. The main character is named Swan, which is like you'll find if you watch a lot of post-apocalypse movies that the main character is named Swan. I don't know why people thought that name was so cool. The main character of The Warriors, which we were talking about earlier, is named Swan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Solar Babies somebody mentioned in there. But yeah, so we watched this. I watched this movie and I was like, I gotta watch this with my friends. And so I watched it with a few of my friends, and we're like, we gotta watch this with more people. And so it started this like, we're gonna watch every terrible post-apocalypse movie there is. And so we watched like Solar Babies, which, by the way, there's a podcast called How Did This Get Made with Jason Mantzoukas and a few, Paul Scheer, and they talked about Solar Babies, and they watched that movie, which is about post-apocalypse roller skating teens, and it is bizarrely bad. But one of the things that they couldn't stop dwelling on was that it's a Mel Brooks film, and they were like, I mean, the podcast is called How Did This Get Made? But they were like, what if we reach out to Mel Brooks and ask him how the heck this, like, why did you make this weird movie? And so they got him. They got an interview with Mel Brooks, the real Mel Brooks, to talk about Solar Babies. And if you're interested at all in that movie, it is so funny to hear him talk about what a train wreck making that movie was. just like from beginning to end. And anyway, so but to get back to your original question, I watched the Munsters like trailer on Twitter yesterday, and I thought I cannot for the life of me tell if they know it's bad or not.
Uh-huh.
Like that sincerity element is just like it's completely opaque for me. I cannot tell from watching it if the people making it know it's bad or not
Sure.
from watching it. And time will tell, I guess. But
Time will tell.
it looked
He's had a lot of reverence for old.
ban-
Rob Zombie's
bananas.
had a lot of reverence for old things, right? Like,
Hmm.
he can pull it off sometimes, but he's also made mistakes. So we'll see.
The important my touchstone for Rob Zombie is my first ever game on the PlayStation was Sled Storm, which was a snowmobile racing slash stunt game that featured several Rob Zombie songs, and we felt really cool while we were playing it. We also felt really cool to have a PlayStation because all we'd had before that was an NES that like required you to blow on a cartridge, push it in, hold it down, move it to the side, and then push the power button at a very specific time if you wanted to play Double Dragon 2 or whatever games we inherited from our uncles. And so like the main feature of the PlayStation, we could have been playing the worst games in the world, but it was like, did you know that with PlayStation the game just turns on every time? And like my siblings were like what? Like, yeah, mom and dad give you 20 minutes to go play a video game and you don't have to spend 15 of it trying to get the game to turn on. uh, and so that's anytime I hear Rob Zombie, I think of hearing those songs in Sled Storm and not understanding any of the words because there were snowmobile noises. But all
The
right,
perfect cover
a
for
perfect
Rob
cover.
Zombie songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, in fact, gentle viewers, whenever Rod Zombie comes on the radio for me, which is frequent because I do listen to some metal and hard rock. Um, the whenever that song Dragula comes on, I have to send lyrics to Kyle immediately.
Yep, that's the one from Sled Storm.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I know the story.
I have two stories, and Patrick's heard both of them. So
It's all good. It's the telling. It's the telling that gets better. Kyle and I have this tradition of when we're at Gen Con or the conventions together, we stay up late reading Twitter to each other.
and so yeah, so before conventions, I'll just try and stock up on funny ones to show Patrick. And usually at conventions, I'm so tired by the time we go to sleep that I just laugh until I cry about the dumbest things. And Patrick is the perfect audience for that format of comedy where I'm just reading things and trying to get through reading them because I'm laughing too hard. My-
Should we do a podcast sometime? It's just you reading tweets to me. It would have an audience.
yep.
We're so tired. Conventions are so exhausting,
Hmm.
and I don't think people appreciate it.
I haven't done any in so long, but yeah, it's like it's on being on your feet. It's talking. Like
Yeah,
we always joke around about ODing on cough drops. Like
right.
when you have to demo the games and stuff. It's just it's the talking. Well, and especially in a couple of convention areas when we've been put in spaces that are not optimal, like if we're right next to the free play area, then if you're
Yeah,
demoing a game, you have to like yell to be able to get people to hear you. And so if you're demoing a game and teaching, which is just talking, and for some reason our company makes only games where you have to describe to every single person what they're doing on their turn instead of being able to just describe it generally. You're talking, and yeah, you have to talk loud, and then by the time the demo's done, you're like, thanks everybody, go buy a copy of the game. And then they stand up and the next group sits down and you just, a single tear rolls down your cheek like,
and they're like, oh no.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet to talk to you about this yet. But
I won't name names, but I was talking to someone else from another company about their Gen Con booth this year, and they're like, yeah, I think we're gonna have to do some 8-hour shifts just because our team's so small for Gen Con. I was like, no, you're not. You're gonna have to find another way to do it.
Yeah, don't do
But
it.
we'll see.
It's too much. But
We'll see.
the thing I enjoy most about conventions is selling the games at the booth and just giving the elevator pitch for the game a million times.
Yeah.
And since we've had, like, ever since we had Root and Vast at conventions, it's been very funny to be able to give the elevator pitch for Root to people who haven't heard about it before, and then immediately say, and if you like that, you'll like Vast, and then talk about the elevator pitch for Vast, and then just immediately say, and then if you like that, you'll like Root, and then just start describing Root again, almost like you're an animatronic character, and the people who have been talking to you for a while realize that, like, oh, the loop started over, and then they can just sort of shuffle to the sales area or something like, oh, he's talking about the game when I first got here. Uh, then you can just go nonstop like that. But
I got very sick at the last PAX I went to. Is that Unplugged or East? That was Unplugged, right? No, that was East. And um oh boy. I was up all night and then I somehow old bandit just went down to the booth and worked the booth all day with just ignoring all all worldly constraints.
yeah,
I was pretty happy with myself.
my favorite, one of my favorite convention memories, and I'm almost positive it was Origins, is when we were. I was trying very hard not to get sick, and I always do at conventions. So I have hand sanitizer just in my pocket. I have alcohol wipes to wipe off my phone periodically and stuff. And I'm sure it seems like a little bit much, but I try and be discreet about it, so it's not a big deal. Um, and somebody on Twitter was giving advice for how not to stay sick or how not to get sick at conventions, and they were like, make sure that after you shake hands with people or like give them fist bumps or whatever, like remember to use hand sanitizer like before you know eat or before you do anything like that. And someone in the comments on Twitter, to paraphrase, was like, or if you shake hands with Kyle Ferrin, he'll just pull the hand sanitizer out of his pocket and hand sanitize his hands immediately in front of you. And I had not remembered doing that, but apparently I did. I'm like, oh, it must have just seemed so rude just to shake hands with someone like, oh, thanks, and then just like immediately take out hand sanitizer and just start doing that immediately. Anyway, I did not remember that. That was a very memorable experience for them. Uh, but that was pre-pandemic, and all I'm saying is maybe we all should have been maybe we all should have been doing that. But,
Somebody said, I think I remember Dragula playing in Gran Turismo 2. What pencils do you use? Oh, thank you for an art-related question.
what do I use?
Pencils.
Pencils. So this pencil is just like a 6H lead drafting pencil. This is a super hard lead pencil. When in some of the stuff for arcs that I've done a lot of shading and things with just a regular old HB mechanical pencil. So my kids love to steal these, and so I just have like a box of new ones, and so I'll put them on my desk, draw with them for a while, and then I'll come back the next day and it'll be gone. I'll have to get out a new one. So the final product of ARCs will be able to put something on the box like drawn with over 100 different mechanical pencils as a feature on it.
Because that is really the best copy.
Yep. Yep. My kids love to take the mechanical pencils, and then depending on their age, they either like to use them or click the lead out of them or eat the erasers off the end and dump the lead out or break the pocket clip on them or throw them behind a couch or piano. They're just there's so many ways to destroy a mechanical pencil.
That's good.
So that's my
I
answer.
did the same thing with pens in this house, and I am looking at an empty pen cup right now, so apparently they got me.
They found you. Well, once they know that it's a reliable place to find ones that work, then all bets
Yeah,
are off. Yeah.
right. I don't even think my kids take that many of them, but I mean, one kid we don't even let him hold anything that can write because he just immediately walks into his piece of furniture and starts redecorating. So
It's been funny to see how my kids react differently to that. Ruby, when she was a baby, she loved to color and she never put anything in her mouth that she wasn't supposed to. Like crayons, like magnets from the fridge, whatever. We could trust her to play with those things because she never did it. And then, like, that was bad to have your first child be like that because no other kid on the planet was like that. Like, everyone else has wanted to eat the crayons and, you know, everything like that. I keep needing to check. Let me know in the chat if I've moved where I'm my drawing surface out of
oh,
frame.
I could also tell you you're fine.
Okay,
You're in frame.
I'm in frame. Yep.
I love watching you work.
Thanks.
It's so fun.
I think that's one of the reasons I like drawing with ink is that I don't know, it feels like that's where all the character comes out
Right.
on things, and so it just sort of like brings it to life.
Should we do a stream where I answer emails for half an hour and then and then work on some concept documents?
Yeah, and I can send you some
yeah.
emails about moving your production to my company.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, we could also just do an hour of me trolling vendors because it's almost risen to the level of hobby. So. So, what are you most excited about with arcs
With arcs
that you get to work on?
that I get to work on,
Yeah.
oh, I think it's going to be a very cool board
Yeah.
when it's done. I think every space game is kind of defined by what it looks like on the table, and there's so many of them that look very similar, and I think arcs is going to look really different from what's out there already.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I'm looking forward to most when some of those things get ironed out. Boards are kind of a hard thing to work on mid-project because they're one of the things that is most in flux, it seems like.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Last stream I watched, I was like, oh, there was some calibrating.
yeah. So.
In the collaboration with Direwolf on Root, how did you work to interpret 2D into 3D?
They sent it to me, and I said, "Cool." Like I didn't really work with them at all. They just kind of did it for me, and then they also buttered me up by putting my name in the loading screen.
Hey, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
The wolf is playing a harmonica that says K Ferrin on it, and I was like, "All right,
Yeah,
I love it. It's all good." Yeah. So they did all the 2D to 3D work on that, which was really fun for me to see, but I can't take any credit for that.
so I'm gonna butcher this. Sorry, Conrad Zaku, the guy who did all those dioramas that I posted yesterday
Mm-hmm.
on random, just showed up on Facebook and said he's building dioramas of our games, and we think they're awesome.
Yeah, we do.
I was prompted to actually go ask you if you have any like other like photos that show the making of, or from an angle where the illusion isn't working, just so we can see how you built them,
Mm-hmm.
or the optical effect isn't working. Everyone should go check them out on BDG. They're amazing. There's two for Oath. One of them recreates the Chancellor standing alone in the tower. That's on the cover. I guess they're all standing alone, but he looks kind of forlorn, standing there alone in the tower. And then there's one with the vagabond roasting something right at the
Mm-hmm.
fire.
Yep.
Go back. Yep,
They have a kind of a bindle with one of the tokens
that's the bindle.
as
Yep.
the bindle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They look pretty cool. And then there's one that parodies Gandalf coming into town with the fireworks. So. They're pretty cool.
They're really
I don't
cool.
know how to express how to see them. I guess I'll post the link. That's probably as good as any other way. And yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Okay, we're gonna do some.
Yeah, so Dara was pretty much just we just signed off on it, and they sent us the art done.
Yeah, you cannot overvalue a relationship where you can just trust the other party to do their very best work. And
Yeah,
they've certainly proven themselves to be that. So Root fans have been very excited about getting expansion material for the digital game. It's been fun to see, the different vagabonds show up in the loading screen as those have become more widely available. And yeah, play together, play separately. My kids like that you can play it on the Switch. And honestly, I've told a bunch of people, like, I think that the digital version of Root is possibly one of the best ways to learn to play the board game.
right.
Like, because of just the format of it. Like, if you know how to play the digital version, you know how to play the board game. Like everything
Right.
except for setup, I guess. But that's pretty self-explanatory. So
The first time my daughter saw me on YouTube, like, with not something I posted, but actually something I was part of, she was stunned. And then that was the other time.
my dad's a
Root
YouTuber.
popped up on the Switch, and she was like, "What?" Yep. And she already heard they were doing it, but just I don't think that was a real thing until it was there on the Switch.
Well, yeah, it's what people determine as having made it. I think
Right.
every person my parents' age or older kind of thinks that I should just be animating for Disney because that's the art job they can think of. And like that's nothing wrong with that. I know lots of people who do great animation stuff, but what I do is so different from animating. Like
Right.
it's a different skill set and I mean there's crossover definitely in what I do and what an animator does, but like very weird to have that be like the the gold standard of what an artist can end up doing. Like Nick Nazaro, who does the board game art for Lay Waste games, like he animates on a bunch of different shows and things, and he has a lifestyle where he's comfortable going from job to job all the time,
Right.
and I do not covet that lifestyle, and that is kind of the way animation is right now. So it's just kind of all part and parcel.
And I think when he's animating, he's still doing a lot of flat backgrounds, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of
For this,
background art,
yeah, for the,
color design,
yeah.
other things like that. So
Which is, I mean, I'm not dissing it. It's all part of the process.
yeah, it's just different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just different. So I'm gonna do these
All
shark
part of the
teeth.
process. You can't
Mm-hmm.
point at any part and go, "This is more important."
Mm-hmm. Because you'd realize if it was missing more than you realize it's there.
Right.
There's a lot of things like that in board games too. Just things you take for granted, I guess, is the phrase people use. That's what I was
Cool.
trying to think of.
Well, we're down to a few minutes here. If anybody wants to pop in with one last question, I'll be happy to try and get you in. Otherwise, we're gonna watch Kyle shade teeth,
The negative space
fill in the
be-
negative space for teeth.
between teeth, a
Yeah,
mouth, and I'm going to use just regular pen instead of my brush pen so I don't blorp out any of these details.
you have to fix it in MS Paint.
All leader games are colored in MS Paint.
I don't. I'm too cheap for Photoshop. Do we? That's interesting. I'll ask you later.
All right, I'm going to get a thicker line pen to sort of set the foreground from the background on these characters a little bit.
Well, that's pretty cool. All right.
Any other
Well,
questions?
you
This has
can.
been a pretty chill stream.
Yeah. You can pick up Ahoy at your FLGS coming up in quarter 4. this year. Um, Production has been ongoing throughout the summer, and I think they're almost to getting it on the water, and so we're looking good for um, we're like we're getting close to the finish line here on it. I'm pretty excited. We've played a few of the final versions, just get them airmailed and whatnot. But
It's coming.
um
Ahoy is
yeah,
coming.
Ahoy's coming. So we're gonna be at Gen Con. I think right now the plan is to go to PAX Unplugged. It's yeah, or sign up for our mailing letter, or go to our mailing list, sorry, or go to the Woodland Warriors Discord. Just answering a question there. Yeah, it's coming, and we're pretty close, and very excited to see how it does. I like the
Ta-da.
it's a lot of content for that price point, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Well, there you
We'll be all
go.
marquee for a moment. Woo!
Woohoo! Sea life, pirate people. Okay. Well, thanks
All right,
everybody. That was a lot of fun.
take care.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.